Hey guys, Jared, Transformational Coaching, Action is Transformation. In this video, we're going to get into why you might think a relationship holds you back. I can remember in my own life, I was so avoidant to having close, intimate relationships for years because I had some childhood wounding that I had to take care of, where I had an over-clingy mother who had an anxiety attachment style, which in turn allowed me to develop an avoidant attachment style. So in this video, I'm going to share with you three tips on, or three truths on how relationships actually move your life forward, because that's something that I've experienced, and I never thought I could actually experience that. So let's get into it. First off, before I get into these 3 points, I just want to share with you that if you have an avoidant attachment style, or if you have an anxious attachment style, if you haven't seen my videos, check them out. They're on my YouTube channel. Then either one is going to affect the way you relate to another human being, especially in deep, intimate relationship. Avoidant attachment styles tend to avoid an intimate relationship because they had a primary relationship growing up that held them back from going after what it is that they really wanted, whereas an anxious attachment style was when you had a primary caregiver who saw you as really not important in their life, and so you wanted that security, and so you clung to them. So whether you're coming into an intimate relationship with an avoidant or attachment style, where we want to be is actually in the middle ground, where we're secure within ourselves, where we don't feel like we need to be in a relationship, but at the same time, we're open to it as well. Once we get to that place within ourselves, that's when we can have a really healthy and loving and deep interconnected relationship there, where there's no power, there's no manipulation, there's no control, there's no back and forth. It allows a relationship to develop with peace. So let's get into the 3 points here as to how a relationship can actually move your life forward. Number 1, true partnership can act as a mental and emotional and spiritual support system. In executive coaching, there's 3 levels of support. There's internal, external, and environmental. And if you haven't seen that video that I've done on this, then check it out on my YouTube channel. I go into those different levels and explain how success or motivation is actually a science of how much support you have in your environment and in your life. But really, a partnership, when it's done correctly and you have a human being who you're with, who knows how to be an emotional support system, who knows how to be a mental support system, who knows how to be an energetic support system, that's actually going to propel your dreams forward. You know, I've coached a lot of individuals who have lower back issues, and lower back issues from a metaphysical or energetic perspective is you don't have enough support in your environment to push forward what you want to push forward. So that's the first thing that we need to recognize, is that if you're having any lower back pain, or maybe you don't feel like you're being supported enough, when you have true emotional, mental, energetic, or spiritual support in your life from other people, you're going to feel like everything's easier to move forward. You're gonna feel like you're kind of gliding over the surface. That's a really great feeling. I can remember 2 years back really being stressed out in my work and my business, and I didn't feel like I had enough support in it. I was supporting my assistant, my clients, my group coaching programs, and I remember just having a lot of lower back pain and feeling exhausted all the time. And I didn't really have too many social connections at that point in my life because I was, creating security for myself. And so during that phase, I really understood the importance of having a relationship that allows you to move things forward in your life and that allows things to just feel easier. But for a majority of my life up till that point, I had always viewed intimate relationship as something that would hold me back, because it did in the past for a very long time, for the first 17 years of my life. And it wasn't until I healed that inner child and integrated some of that work did I realize, oh, wow, okay, intimate relationships can be really supportive. And that allowed me to bring in a relationship at that time that allowed me to shift that belief system. Number 2, partnership allows you to see aspects of yourself that you may have never been in touch with before. And I can remember being in one relationship years back where she said, I think that you perceive me as holding you back. And I remember thinking, oh my God, she's right. Like, I'm working all the time, and I was seeing her as, if I hang out with her, She's taking me away from my work, and that's keeping me away from my security. Whereas at the time, I was building up financial security for myself, and so I did see her as a hindrance. That wasn't actually true. She had been nothing but supportive. And so once she said that to me, I kind of took it in, was like, you know what, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry. I couldn't even see that I perceived you that way. And then obviously we went into where that childhood thinking or that childhood perception came in. So relationships, intimate relationships, allow us to see parts of ourselves and how we relate to the world. Remember, the self doesn't happen as in a vacuum. It happens as an extension of all of our connections. So if we want to understand just how we're made, and we want to understand how we're relating to the world, a relationship will do that to you. They will reflect parts back to you and say, hey, look, I see you doing this. I see you doing this. Do you recognize that? It'll allow you to connect your thoughts to your actions and your behaviors. It allows you to draw more connections there so you can be more congruent with yourself. Now, ideally, we want to get to a place in life where those two aren't, that incongruency doesn't exist at all. And that happens when we integrate the childhood psyche, or when you integrate the inner child and that aspect or that part of you that developed a certain way from your early childhood attachments. But once you get into a relationship with someone who can really go deep with you, and you feel safe to go deep with them, you'll be able to see what types of relational patterns you've developed, and you'll be able to discover parts of yourself that you never really knew were there. So it can be a fun exploration. And finally, number 3, you become aware of desires that you never even really realized you had. One of the great things about creating a true intimate relationship that's built on safety, security, trust, and transparency is when that comes into your life, you'll see that you're able to unearth desires that you never knew you had. There's a connection between being aware of your true, deeper desires and the amount of safety you feel within yourself. And I can remember when I really built up financial security for myself, when I built up emotional security within my own being, when I built all those things within myself, I finally felt safe to allow certain desires to come to the surface that I had never been aware of. We all grow up in certain environments where we're not allowed to explore certain things. I know for me, growing up in a Christian home, I wasn't allowed to explore sexuality in a way that I wanted to, and that was something that I had to act out later on in my life and really learn, but I had to unearth years of shame and guilt and repression around that. So relationships, when done correctly and properly with people who have the right relational skills, what'll actually happen is we'll allow these deeper parts of us to come to the surface. We'll allow these deeper aspects of us to come forth that we never really knew was there. Desires will come up that we never had, that we never realized were coming to the surface. I've coached thousands of clients at this point in the last 4 years, and I've found that as I go through the exploration journey with them, when I give them a safe space to share their true thoughts and feelings and desires, whole new parts of their being come up, which is transformative and changing in and of itself. So it's really important to create a safe space for yourself, or find someone who can create a safe space for you to allow those desires that you never knew you had to come to the surface. And that's really what a good coach, a good therapist, a good healer, a good relationship with another human being will do. Their energy will allow you to feel safe to allow aspects of yourself to come forward before that you never even knew were there. And so it'll allow you relationships, deep relationships that are based on safety, security, transparency, and trust will allow whole other aspects of yourself to come up and to surface that you may have never been aware of. That's all I got for this time, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like what you've seen here, please like and share and subscribe. Please share with any family members or friends, as I'd love for this work to go out into the world. It does reduce a lot of the pain that I see out there every single day. I'm coaching individuals and they come to me with these stories, and I see patterns, and really emotional intelligence and deep relationship is something that our world needs right now. It's something that I needed once I finally started learning it and getting a good understanding of it, and was applying it to my life. my heart was so much more happier. That's what I would love to see in the world. If you guys want to check out the Sacred Relationship series that Laura and I are doing, we're running this. We still have about one more month here. I'm looking at the date right now. We still got a month left in that. So if you haven't signed up, please do that. We're doing live coaching sessions. We're doing relational work. We're interviewing major key players in the industry. We'd love for you to be a part of that as well too. That's all I have for this time. Thank you so much for joining me, you guys. I'll see you until next time.